So we found out that Ant-Man's getting a sequel entitled Ant-Man and the Wasp coming July 6th, 2018. And then there are 3 untitled movies Marvel will now release in 2020.
That are technically phase 3, right?
Still phase 3.
They never specified. They said it was
could have
phase
started
3.
phase 4 with that.
Right, that's what I thought it was. They
You know?
still counted them as phase 3 movies in the announcements.
Which makes you wonder, and we can get into this in further detail in a minute, if there isn't going to be, if they're setting up this overarching kind of narrative almost for post-Infinity War, but we'll get to that. So the dates for the 2020 films are May 1st, July 10th, November 6th. Now, because of these new announcements today, and this is all official right from Marvel, they changed the release dates for Black Panther and Captain Marvel. Not the first time both of those movies have had their dates shifted. It happened.
Spider-Man.
Yep, Spidey.
Troublemaker Spider-Man.
Right, you know, he's a friendly neighborhood wall crawler until you have a movie in the pipeline. And then in which
until
case
you're
it's
Captain
like,
Marvel.
excuse me, I'm Spider-Man, I'm coming through.
Yeah.
So Black Panther actually moved up from July 2018 to February 16th, 2018. Captain Marvel, however, was moved back from November 2018 to March 8th, 2019. Now that's about 4 months, and
4 months or so.
Black Panther got pushed up 6 months.
And the other movie coming out that year is Infinity War Part 1.
Yeah.
So they're sticking to that 3 Marvel
Yeah.
movie a year plan.
There's
Because we're never going to run out of Marvel movies ever.
No, I mean, let's face it, people. This is keeping the lights on everywhere for a while. Yeah, 2018 is Black Panther, Infinity War, Ant-Man and Wasp. 2019, Captain Marvel, Infinity War 2, and Inhumans.
And we will have a quiz on all those dates at
Exactly.
the end of this podcast.
This is,
so
you
hope
have
were
to
paying
have like
attention.
that Rayman-like ability.
Yeah,
to
you can't rewind. There's no rewind functionality on this right now. Sorry.
We're taking it all away from you. So let's talk about, though, the given today's Marvel Studio announcement of the Ant-Man and the Wasp and these new 2020 release dates and the shifting of those dates for Black Panther and Captain Marvel, there was a vocal contingent of fans online not happy with the fact that Captain Marvel, yet again, gets postponed. And I know, that this is... I'll let you state it, because you were stating it much better than I was this morning. So take it away.
We sort of had a little divide in the office. So, I don't think that Kevin Feige at Marvel is like, gonna push back that one female superhero movie another year.
You don't know he has a giant dartboard of Carol Danvers
Yeah,
in his office.
maybe Carol Danvers is just his arch nemesis, and he's just
Exactly.
trolling. And that movie is not coming out at all. It's just one big troll.
Find out he had an ex-girlfriend named Carol Danvers.
No, I'm really excited Ant-Man and the Wasp is coming out. I really liked Ant-Man. I was so excited about the introduction of the Wasp, and I can't wait to meet her as a character. But it is disappointing that the one standalone, individual Marvel superhero movie, Captain Marvel, keeps getting pushed back, and now we aren't getting her until 2019. It just seems... In a world where Marvel is moving forward, in a world where Marvel is doing a lot of things great, it's just surprising that it's taking them so long to diversify their slate in having a superhero have her own movie.
Yeah.
That it's being pushed so far into.
But
You
there
jinxed
was
me by
also-
saying that I was saying this so well earlier, and I can't get this out right now. I'm like,
but
there
you
are
also
movies.
pointed out earlier too, because the spin that Marvel was trying to put on in their announcement was that the Wasp will be the first female superhero with her name in the title in the MCU,
which is not a great spin
because she's second billing in
Right.
a way, and it's.
We have Black Widow. We're getting Jessica Jones later this year on Netflix. Like, yes, there are a lot of Marvel superheroines in the mix, but at the same time, Marvel is aware that people feel this lack of diversity, and Phase 3 is supposed to remedy that.
Right.
And by constantly pushing back this movie, it's just disappointing. I again don't think it's vindictive. Like, it's clearly all business. They
Right.
can only put out so many movies a year. Infinity War, I think, is very important. Those seem to be like the main tent poles that they need to hit, and everything
Yeah.
else can move around that. But it's just a shame that Captain Marvel again had to be a victim of this.
Well, I'm going to address the part where you said business, because I really do think it's simply a matter of, they're announcing release dates and switching the movies around. They did it with Thor Ragnarok. They did it with Guardians 2. They just, I think it's just like a dog marking his territory of like, hey, competitors, that's our weekend. And they'll plug and play whatever they have to around there. Now, Captain Marvel is only getting pushed back 4 months.
But a full year, like it's a year. It's 2018 to 2019.
Here's the glass half full way to look at it, okay? Which is, instead of coming in the third movie you're talking about in 2018, she's the first movie you're talking about in 2019 and kind of setting the tone for the rest of that year in the way that people are looking forward to, like, so when they do their big, movies coming up this year, it's not like you're getting stuck with the sort of Fantastic Four slot of like, well, you're the end of summer movie, or in her case, it was originally November, so you're going up against, and we don't know too how much of this is coming from Disney and some of the Star Wars stuff they have planned too. Maybe there's some Star Wars announcements and they just simply don't want to be sort of cannibalizing their own stuff. And we actually do have a reader email about this that I can get to in a minute. But yeah, I just, it is only a 4-month delay. If it had been pushed a year, like an entire year, a real year, not just from November to March. Is it to March? Yes. Marvel, stop changing dates.
You failed the quiz.
It would be, yeah, exactly. It would be, I think, even more troubling because it's been in development, for a while. It was only officially announced last year, yes, but people want this movie.
And I still am surprised. Like, obviously, we keep comparing DC and Marvel to one another. Wonder Woman is going to come out far before Captain Marvel is at this point. In we're already toward the end of 2015. People have been clamoring for a Marvel female, led superhero movie for years, and now it's 4 more years on top of that. It is a long time, those reasons aside. But we were talking a little earlier about how it seems nearly impossible that that's going to be the first time she's actually introduced, even though that is her first movie. Kevin Feige reconfirmed recently that she was originally supposed to be in the Avengers, Age of Ultron, I almost said Civil War, end of the movie when we see the new Avengers. So, whether it's Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which has been denied, but who knows what's actually happening. Or
as
Ragnarok.
Evidenced by the fact that they're changing release dates so much.
Yeah, or even,
sure
who knows what it is,
situation.
but I'm sure that she's going to get some substantial character introduction, maybe like Black Widow did previously in Iron Man 2 and kept sort of getting involved in Captain America the Winter Soldier, that I feel like we will see her at some point. It is a shame, even if it's purely the fact on paper that we aren't getting a solo Marvel superheroine movie until 2019.
I do wonder if there aren't some other, again, business factors at play, like maybe the actor they have in mind for her and the director they have in mind for the movie, they probably know something. They certainly know a lot more than we do about what's going on. So maybe it's that they had to push the movie too because of whatever window in their schedule where they can make the movie. They weren't going to make that release date, and rather than change it when the thing's in production and they already know, like, they weren't going to make that date and it looks bad for the movie, like, oh, is the movie troubled or whatever. Even Ant-Man got bumped too during its troubled production. So I think maybe they're just trying to be cognizant of all the many different moving parts. Maybe the script's not quite there yet either, or maybe they're using Captain Marvel as a way to kind of shoehorn in things for Infinity War or a post-Infinity War world, and they require a little bit more time. I would just advise fans to not despair too much. It does suck that it's getting postponed again. It always sucks when these things get kicked down the road, especially this one where it's,
this is a very special movie and something I think a lot of people.
Movie where it's like this is going to be a milestone, and but it's but they did it. They're pushing it. So I guess
the more
we'll
we
just
talk about it, the more of a change is going to be made.
Let's just call up
swear.
Feige. So But on the Captain Marvel front, do you think that, if we do get her ahead of time, and you did say that, maybe they'll take the Black Widow route, do you think there's any chance that maybe they'll use the Netflix series as a way to kind of introduce her? Is that, it's so street level, it doesn't seem likely, but...
Yeah, I don't think so, just because
Yeah.
they have made a point to keep them so separate.
Yeah.
They've already introduced Inhumans on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and no one is even answering that question because goodness knows what the state of that show will be by the time.
Do you think she could pop up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No. I just mean the way that the shows and the movies are
Right.
affecting one another, that they're sort of standalone. I don't think that they will introduce Captain Marvel on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Netflix, simply because she is such an important character.
Right.
And when fans are already having the sentiment that she's being pushed aside, she's sort
Yeah.
of being, put on the shelf, to introduce her on one of the shows, even though that might not necessarily be meant as a slight, could certainly
Yeah,
be
it
felt
can
that way.
be
And I think at a certain
perceived
point
that
it
way,
is
yeah.
political, because she is an important character. Black Panther we're meeting in Captain America Civil War,
Right.
if you're like...
Although we were talking beforehand too about how, the conversation when they did the big announcement up in the theater and at the
El Capitan
El
Theater
Capitan
in
Theater,
Los Angeles.
they had, they introduced Chadwick Boseman on stage, and he's standing between Cap and Iron Man. It was going to be about the three of them.
And he was sort of filling the Spider-Man role
And then
in the
they
comics.
got Spider-Man, and
then they
now
had
nobody's
Spider-Man.
really talking about Black Panther, and it's like...
Though my
know?
argument, I think that his role will remain the same. I think people are talking about Spider-Man because we're like, what is going on with Spider-Man?
Right.
He's really just 15. Okay, but what is going on with
Yeah.
him? So I think that that's the reason why the conversation has moved